of bowing to false kings. But their smiles liquid and smooth took their words for the truth. Edge of light and shade, my broken soul once more enslaved. So I want to run to your shelter tonight, run to the shelter tonight, united in silent resistance of bowing to false kings. So let me run to your shelter tonight, run from this meaningless pantomime. I see the false kings, I see that all this must end. When there's no love in my embrace, cold blood runs through my veins. If I sow without grace, do I still sow? I need the love in your embrace, open doors, brand new ways, and my words that erase, and I'm yours. So I want to run to your shelter tonight, run to the shelter tonight, united in silent resistance of bowing to false kings. So let me run to your shelter tonight, run from this meaningless pantomime. I'll swallow my pride, give up the pretense. Yes, I wind down and I dined on that cyanide.
Hello everyone and welcome back to VCS English as we are getting ready to jump on into our second series of the week, of the day. It's our sixth series of the week. I can do maths just about. GAM taking on 𝘀cie esports, and I still have 𝘀cie and Tim alongside me. 𝘀cie, I'll jump to you first. This series should go the way of GAM, right?
It should, but we have seen GAM has been kind of not so consistent so far in the split. I mean, they started almost 0-3 and had the comeback against one of the teams. I think it was even Team 𝘀liche that almost bet them, if I remember correctly. And now they are on an upward trend, and 𝘀cie have lost, I think, their first series against BTS, who have been winless so far. So they might just be on the downward trend. So it kind of speaks a language that GAM is favored today, but it's not completely one-sided. It's not black and white as that.
Yeah, and to head over to you, Tim, one thing that I do want to talk about, and I think has to be spoken about whenever 𝘀cie play, is mid lane. Because we saw in the last series that 𝘀cie played, Artifact came in for one game, then Hero jumped back in, and Hero against 𝘀łory, especially in game 3 of that series, did not look good. Surely, for GAM, it's play against Hero and punish him as much as they can.
Yeah, I think they have to, because in game 2 it was actually the other way around, right? Hero was winning lane into 𝘀łory, and I mean, Hero in game 2, he was a hero, as his name would suggest. On the set, he was just finding every engage. He was consistently killing the 𝘀𝗿𝗄𝗋, who was a single carry on the other side, and I think that is the coin flip that is 𝘀cie. They can be great, and Hero can win mid lane and stomp the game and be the carry for his team. And in the next game, he goes 0-9 or something, and just completely sprints it. And I think that is the big coin flip that we're expecting from 𝘀cie. And for me, also the jungle matchup is going to be so important, because coming in this week as an analyst, I watched a lot of the games and listened to you guys a lot, and everybody was like, "Yeah, Penguin is insane. This guy's the best jungler, and he's smurfing." And he comes into the series versus I forgot on Tuesday, sorry, and he just, I mean, 2 games he was basically AFK, and in 1 game he got gifted elite and then actually played well. So I'm interested to see if he can stand up to 𝘁𝘁, who in the last series against 𝘀liche was probably the best performing member, and put his team on his back.
Yeah, that 𝘀cie was against 𝘀cie taking a 2-1 win. We get to see actually 𝘀cie playing tomorrow against Team 𝘂secret in what is effectively a battle for 6th place in the split. Going back to GAM then, 𝘀cie, 𝘂𝗋𝗋 is a player who, if I recall correctly, wasn't feeling too well at the start of the split, is starting to feel better now, and we definitely saw that in the series between GAM and Team 𝘀liche.
I mean, we for sure did. I mean, 𝘂𝗋𝗋 has been... He was definitely a little bit rough around the edges in the first week. Ironically, he also... He was maybe even one of the more stabilizing players for them, despite the sickness he had, despite having a lack of practice maybe. And just now, as he's getting even better in form, he looks maybe like one of the best players of the VCS again. I remember 𝘂𝗋 is very high on him. Called him, I think, even called him the MVP when VCS was still played last spring, I remember. And GAM and 𝘀cie now on the table are very close to each other. They are both 2-2. Game score favors 𝘀cie, but let's be honest, what does game score even mean? Not much, right?
No, not much. I mean, I like to think about game score sometimes, because it tells a different story. And lets you know if a team has a little bit more in it. But then again, I like to think that Team 𝘀liche did all right against GAM and they got beaten 2-0. So I guess game scores don't mean anything at all. Tim, coming into this game, you spoke a little bit about 𝘁𝘁 and Penguin. Do you think this is the matchup that effectively determines how the series will play out?
Yeah, I mean, if Penguin can find this form from last week, I think it can be a contested series. But I think if he plays on the same way he did on Tuesday, and 𝘁𝘁 also plays the same style and at the same level, then I don't think it's going to be in contest. I think 𝘁𝘁 is just going to stomp jungle. I mean, game 1 𝘁𝘁 against Team 𝘀liche, his entire team was basically not really wanting to win. Top lane looked fine, the rest really didn't. And then he comes out on 𝘂𝗋𝗋 and just runs over the game entirely, basically 1v4, 1v5ing. And it was absolutely insane. And the second game wasn't different. He played Jarvan and took over the entire early game and was a monster again. And I think that speaks a lot to him as well, because he wasn't showing up last week. So I think if the performances from last week return, then I think it's a very contested series. If it keeps like it was on Tuesday, it's not going to be contested at all.
Okay. And 𝘀cie, your thoughts on the game and what the critical matchup is?
I actually echo that statement. I mean, Levi has been absolutely smurfing on BTS when it really mattered last week, when they had the 2-1 comeback against them, and it was looking really dire against them. They also had the Talon Yumi on the side of BTS, and Levi just showed that he can bully that matchup from start to finish. Really showed up, and for Penguin, it's a little bit of a series to prove himself as one of the better VCS junglers. If he, like Coach Tim said, manages to stand up to Levi and have a decent showing against him, maybe not even be about beating him or even winning the series here. It might just be for him individually to really have a good showing here, and I think that, the jungle matchup is probably what we are looking forward here to. And aside that, just which mid laner plays and who of the top laners on the side of SBTC is allowed to play top lane today.
Okay. Well, we will be jumping on into picks and bans momentarily. Another matchup that we should probably talk about is this bottom lane matchup. 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 taking on 𝘀𝗶𝗵𝗔 and CBL. Tim, who do you think actually comes out of this matchup on top? I mean, obviously, we don't know what champions are going to be played, but if they both had equal priority, let's say.
Is it Style that plays or 𝘀𝗫? Because, like, from what I
Style.
heard, they're alternating series. And then
Oh, are they?
it would mean that 𝘀𝗫 would play. At least so far they have.
So Style has 4 games so far. 𝘀𝗫 has 6.
Yeah,
So,
but
yeah,
he
it's probably
played 2 3-game series. And Style played 2-2-game series. So I think it is actually I can't tell you. We will see in a second, I guess.
5 seconds, yeah.
And it is 𝘀𝗫.
Better analyst, you know what
there you go.
it is to say. We already see bans coming in. Jhin has been taking out same for Lucian on the bot lane, and it is looking like a Syndra first pick for 𝘀𝗀, where he has looked very strong and where he can play his roaming, his early aggression style.
And 𝘀𝗀cie, we have to talk about it. Artifact back in for the side of SBTC Esports. I really hope he doesn't get subbed out, but what this does mean, at least to me, 𝘀𝗀cie, is it means Hero's back in the top lane, and Hero looked a bit shaky on his return to the top lane on Monday.
Yeah, that's a bit ironic, right? Because Hero is a top laner, but he looked better mid lane than top lane so far. I mean, with 𝘀𝗀𝗺, they have been showing more results, and it's kind of doomed for players coming in late into the split. I mean, we saw the same for 𝘺 in... who was it? It was 𝘺. Yeah, 𝘺 and Pan. There's a situation on the top lane for 𝘺, where both top laners aren't really making the cut so far. And with Artifact, he also had a very unfortunate debut against versus 𝘁. Maybe now he can redeem himself a little bit. Gotta say though, he plays against 𝘁𝗀, maybe the mechanically most gifted mid laner of the VCS. And he is on the first pick blue side Syndra, which of course our resident rebel will not like, but is of course a choice for 𝘁𝗀. And with the wise counter pick for him, I'm not quite convinced if it's actually going well for Artifact, because that lane can be very rough.
And to throw back to you, Tim, we're getting this misfortune again. Jhin has been banned away, so this means 𝘀𝗶𝗵𝗹 needs to play one of the non-meta ADCs with Jhin and Lucian both taken off.
Yeah, but I have still choices. I mean, Xayah has now also been banned there. I think he can find something. Maybe the 𝘀𝗻𝗺s, maybe the Jinx. Overall, there is a bit of an issue here for the side of SBTC, because they are already getting outranged, but this time they have good engagement with the Xin with the Camille. They can reach the backline, but they now have to draft more all-in, more engaged, because they cannot teamfight otherwise, and they might be looking for a split with Camille and Ryze, of course, but still they should be able to take at least some fights. Ziggs has also been taken out, so a lot of focus here on 𝘀𝗶𝗵𝗹 on this bot lane. They want to take out the good champions, and now the question is, what can he pick? 𝘀𝗻𝗺s is open if he wants to take it, but it isn't great into Syndra, it isn't great into MF.
The Leon is going to be picked first, so 𝘀𝗶𝗵𝗹 wants to see the full composition of GAM before he makes a decision as to what champion he goes towards. But when we look over at GAM's composition so far, 𝘀𝗀cie, this is looking like a very nice teamfight composition. You've got the Misfortune, the Bullet Time, you've got the Jarvan and the Syndra, and of course, it's VCS, so Alistar will get locked in.
Yeah, of course. I mean, 𝘀𝗀 is like forced. I mean, it's just the VCS special, right? You have to pick 𝘀𝗀. They just play all in and win. They play win lane, win game. It's easy as that for GAM, apparently. But speaking of that, win lane, win game would not be suitable if they pick the 𝘁 into 𝘁𝗃. 𝘁 in the long lane against 𝘁𝗃 is something I really wouldn't like to see for 𝘁𝗀. But maybe yeah. Of course, he doesn't pick it. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you have to pick something else. And the 𝘁𝗧 definitely suits the style, the identity that GAM has a lot better. And yeah, you wanted to say something about 𝘀𝗀, Tim.
It sucks. It is really, really terrible. It is just like you tell me it's like all in, win lane, win game. 𝘀𝗀 loses lane. I do not understand how 𝘀𝗀 is picked consistently. And now bot lane in the VCS is like, we should maybe go in a custom game. We should train how to punish 𝘀𝗀 level 1. That might be a good idea. No, like 𝘀𝗀 just gets 3 level 1s every single game. It's, I mean,
yes.
This is, I'm mostly casting like in German scene, right? And they are terrible there. They are horrible, and they still know how to punish 𝘀𝗀. How are you not able to... no.
I think Tim has gone from being a guest analyst to now a permanent VCS analyst. The test for that is how well do you mold on the analyst desk, and I think Tim has done that perfectly. So congrats, Tim.
Yeah, there's still some hair left on him, so maybe not quite.
We can get rid of it by the end of the week.
Yeah. Give me 2 more analyst tests, and I think that's taken care of.
Okay, let's rewatch again on newest Eve how it's looking there for Tim. Maybe there's none left of it all. Depends on how many deaths he's getting.
Okay, so let's break down these drafts then. Tim, I'll let you go first. Which of these drafts do you prefer? Which of the drafts do you hate more?
I do like GAM's draft, except for the support. I think they have a very good long-range engage comp with good AoE, good catch potential, and a high range. On the other hand, I don't hate the draft from SBTC. They have good split pushing draft. I don't think they have enough disengage. I think Leona just doesn't make it too easy for you to disengage. So we have to see how that pans out. But overall, I think drafts are somewhat even, but I would give the advantage to GAM, even though they're the star.
Okay.
Yes, similarly. I mean, I would say SBTC outscales it a little bit, but GAM has probably the better players and also winning lanes, aside from maybe that 𝘀𝗀 that doesn't have a level 1. And I do think that it's not a big issue for them. So for me, it's GAM taking game 1.
Okay, well, we have jumped on into game. We'll see how this game does pan out. I want to talk a little bit about 𝘁𝗀, 𝘀cie, because we hyped him up in Picks and Bans, or we hyped him up in the pre-game about how well 𝘁𝗀 has been playing for GAM, how he's been the consistent member for GAM, which is what we can expect from someone of 𝘁𝗀 stature and experience. Where does 𝘁𝗀 play? Because he's got some gank set up in the bottom lane, courtesy of the 𝘀𝗀, but surely you're looking towards 𝘁𝗀. On this Syndra, he's Scatter the Weak, so much pick potential on to this Ryze.
For sure, and Ryze is a champion that only has the flash as his mobility tool, aside from maybe around level 6 where he gets his Wild Mob, he can maybe outplay some gank that. I've seen some Ryzes do that, but that's also a little bit more telegraphed, and I expect 𝘁𝗀 to be wary of that. So you're definitely looking towards 𝘁𝗀 there, as you just said, or maybe in some instances you could also play towards bot lane, but I expect 𝘁𝗀. I expect 𝘁𝗀 on the 𝘂𝗧 to absolutely smash this 𝘁𝗃 matchup with the 𝘂𝗧, which is something that didn't happen in the series before, where we had Yoshino playing the 𝘁𝗃, who did a better job than Pan on his regard. But yeah, speaking of 𝘁𝗀's pathing, I would definitely expect the mid lane focus, maybe a slight bot lane focus as well.
He started on the bottom side of the map, so he will be pathing towards the top side, should be able to secure that top side 𝘁𝗀𝗃 as well, and then maybe path his way down towards the mid lane for his first gank of the game. And both the junglers going from red to Krugs, but 𝘁𝗀 significantly ahead in his pathing position. He's already on his Raptors, and Penguin yet to finish his Krugs.
Yeah, certainly. And I wonder where Penguin's really pathing towards this game. I mean, maybe you could punish the 𝘂𝗧 a little bit and get like hero warning, because he definitely needs to in the later stage of the game. He is a split pusher. Split pushers from behind are basically useless, so you gotta focus a little bit onto 𝘁𝗃 there. He will eventually probably outscale the 𝘂𝗧 or just avoid team fights and just be in a 1v0 split push scenario either way. So it would be very helpful of them to get hero ahead, but it also looks like that Penguin knows that 𝘁𝗀 might focus the mid lane, so he's going there as well.
Yeah, Penguin straight into the mid lane. 𝘁𝗀 will die. He almost was able to pick up a kill onto Artifact, but it is first blood going on over to the SBTC esports jungler.
For sure, and like this, 𝘁𝗀𝗆 at least has the decency to not waste his flash there, because he knew he was dead as soon as the wound prison lands. Was flash from both Penguin and for 𝘁𝗏𝗏 to secure that kill. And 𝘁𝗏𝗏, he had a rough start last time he played, and this time it's looking much better for him. Speaking of solo laners who are doing much better though, it looks very one-sided in the top lane. Jayce versus Camille, even more one-sided than it was last time, and here we see the play again in the mid lane 𝘁𝗁𝗆. I mean, there's nothing you can do really there. Maybe you shouldn't walk up to this bush there or have it warded anyway to be prepared for something like this, because it's kind of obvious that Xin Zhao will eventually try to do something against you, but like this, he gives up his lives, gives up his blood bonus onto Penguin, and off for a good start for Penguin.
But let's not forget as well that 𝘁𝗏𝗆 had to use a flash to get the rune prison onto 𝘁𝗁𝗆. This is 5 minutes where 𝘁𝗏𝗆 has no flash. And we already spoke about how this Ryze does not have a lot of escapability against the Syndra and Jarvan. So sure, there's the short-term benefit for 𝘁𝗏𝗆 and Penguin, but in the long term, it might not work out well for them.
For sure, I mean, 2 flashes is a lot of cooldowns blown just for 1 kill, but I mean, if they just get unpunished in the next 5 minutes, it will of course be more than fine for them, but I expect Levi to do something against it. So also, even 𝘁𝗁𝗆 himself, I mean, he still has a good lane matchup, he's still ahead in CS there, we see it like this, that Syndra has much more combat powers in this stage of the game, so I wonder if they can maybe, as a level 6 power spike for Syndra, where she gets the unleashed power, do something against it. And remains to be seen whether they can punish it. Like this, if it remains unpunished, very good sign for SBTC.
Well, 𝘁𝗁𝗆 does have the level advantage, the experience advantage over 𝘁𝗏𝗆. Is starting to push waves into the Ryze as well, and has the boots, so could potentially be seeing some roams from the Syndra into the side lanes. We're seeing this 3-man gang in the bottom lane, Flag and Drag, Leona locked up, can't proc the aftershock defenses. And now GAM want to look towards Celebrity as well. 𝘁𝗏𝗆𝗃𝗏𝗄 maker doesn't land on it to anyone.
Oh,
he tries to step on a trap, and he's going to take a fair amount of damage. Hookshot gets the stun down. And the tactical sweep gets a slow as well, but Levi will be able to walk his way out to safety. And while all of this is happening, 𝘁𝗏𝗆 is just going to be able to farm in the top lane and maybe even pick up a tower play as well.
For sure, and you also get a TP from Hero, so he won't be in the top lane for a very long time, and Levi is probably very okay with burning his flash there. He probably could maybe even just get out there without even blowing the flash if he doesn't step into the Caitlyn trap there, but
yes.
Yeah, little bit of a slimmer for him, but really good punish by him here, by Levi in general, that he gets a dive going on there. Was a little bit telegraphed. CBL though dies to the Dragon Strike there and doesn't even use his flash. Kill goes over to 𝘁𝗆𝗆 at the end of the day, which is also ideal for GAM because they want to get the AD carry ahead. Here we see again CBL goes for the stun here, gets pulverized, gets flag dragged, and he's just dead. I mean, Leona is a very tanky champion with the aftershock, but like this, he still dies very quickly to the 3-man damage tirade that GAM managed to pull off onto the Leona there.
There's a nice trap that Celebrity dropped down to catch out Levi, but very nice layering of CC from the side of GAM to secure the kill, and they even things up on the scoreboard. 1-1, and GAM find themselves with a 1,000 goal lead, despite SBTC being the ones who picked up first blood in this game.
For sure, and I wonder how much of this gold lead is apparent in the top lane, where 𝘁𝗏𝗆 is likely, I mean, we haven't seen the scoreboard in a while, probably like 25 CS ahead because it was 20 earlier, and Hero was still taking some time to get back into lane, and 𝘁𝗏𝗆 probably hasn't even based yet, so I expect like half the gold lead to be on the Jayce against the Camille there, and the rest is probably like 𝘁𝗆𝗆𝗆 being a little bit ahead, and I expect 𝘁𝗏𝗆𝗆 to have a slight advantage over 𝘁𝗁𝗆𝗆 from the first blood, or Penguin rather, maybe it's even him because he got the kill gold at the end of the day. Penguin now, speaking of him, just gets the red buff steal. 𝘁𝗆𝗆𝗆 face checks into it.
You're going to have to flash out that one. He does. Penguin follows over the wall, headbutt away. But all 3 members will follow in the realm warp. The tire comes through from Wind becomes lightning.
That's too deep.
From 𝘁𝗆𝗆𝗆, now trying to turn onto CBL. But 𝘁𝗆𝗆𝗆 forced to burn everything in the process, and SBTC getting a fair advantage in the bottom lane from this, and Celebrity going to be able to shove the wave and maybe pick up a tower play as well.
For sure, but they lose so much in the top side jungle there. Levi and 𝘁𝗏𝗆𝗆 are basically living there. Also a huge wave that is now dropped by 𝘁𝗏𝗆𝗆𝗆. I mean, all this just to blow some summoners of an AD carry. Not even getting the kill, probably not worth. And now, yeah, Camille is probably just screwed here. She just dies to the dive, and at the end of the day, still worth for GAM in the cross map for sure.
Yeah, because GAM get the kill, and it was just an early hook shot that we saw from Hero before the gank play, which meant that Hero only had the Hextech Ultimatum as his outplay button, which he used fairly effectively, but was unable to get anything more from it. Now, Artifact is making his way down, as is Penguin. We might be having another 4v2 situation. Headbutt Pulverize comes through, bullet time. Celebrity takes so much damage, forced to flash out. The Ignite still ticking down. Celebrity down to just over 200 HP.
And I think I need to talk more about just how behind this Camille is against Jace. It's 30 CS now, and it's just pretty over for Hero at this point. I mean, I think even if Hero lands a hookshot wall dive onto Kiya's Jace, he probably just loses the 1v1 to the Jace and gets just battered by the hammer stance of Kiya, despite him having the tier Jace build. And now also first Herald coming down for GAM. They can also use it in a top lane or maybe even a different lane to just snowball the map a little bit more evenly and not just break open the Camille and give her a free refuge where she can just farm a little bit and freeze maybe even the wave against the Jace. So maybe this will be placed somewhere else, and we just saw in the bot lane. In the 2v2 they are still more than fine, and the whole map is basically just getting slightly ahead of the enemy competition, or in the case of Kiya, not just slightly.
Yeah, well, Kiya very far ahead of Hero, and we talked about him in the pre-game, how Kiya has been a constant factor for the side of GAM, and he was feeling a little bit ill at the start of the split. Has recovered now, and now we're starting to see him performing even better. Good catch onto CBL from the scat of the week, and CBL is running. He's going to die, and 𝘁𝗏𝗏 will be given the kill by Levi, and now 𝘁𝗏𝗏 has his first kill of the game.
And I wonder what CBL was doing there. I mean, there wasn't even his allied mid laner an artifact around there. I mean, there also no TP, no well up, no anything. He just tried to get a pick there with Penguin, I think, onto 𝘁𝗏𝗏, and just at the end of the day was the pick about. Speaking of artifacts, yeah, now in this sequence, the Syndra gets 2 kills for free that she should have never gotten, and 𝘁𝗏𝗏 was the only one remaining.
Penguin, everyone is running onto 𝘁𝗏𝗏's dinner plate. Okay, Penguin actually, he says, no, this is not your dinner plate, it's my dinner plate. And Levi maybe going in a bit too aggressively and disrespecting the amount of damage that Penguin had available to him.
Apparently, it's the classic VCS moments where the color caster doesn't get to talk and the player is busy all the time. But speaking of 𝘁𝗏𝗏, he just got 2 kills for free, gave over a shutdown that he just now generated immediately back to Penguin. And
that was a plan from SBTC, right? You guys die, and then I kill 𝘁𝗏𝗏 to get the shutdown.
But it's not preseason yet. With objective shutdowns, maybe that even works. But like this, it's a bit too early to go for something like this. And now here we see 𝘁𝗏𝗏 in the replay here. I think this is where you just get the kill into Artifact, which is good for him. But then he overstays it a little bit. He also doesn't burn the flash against 𝘁𝗏𝗏. So
fight in the picture-in-picture. CBL again. He's on the wrong side of the map. I don't quite know how this one happened. Maybe he engaged to try to peel for Celebrity when
it's his life. Are you sure it's not the replay? It's a different lane, right? But yeah, CBL. Just with another death. I mean, it's just the classic. I mean, I don't know what SBTC is doing. I think they are just trying very, very desperately to look for picks, and CBL is just getting called out everywhere on the map, literally. Just now in the bot lane, earlier in the mid lane, and they just feed the Syndra, feed the MF, who really shouldn't be that fan at this point of the game. I mean, what triggers me is that SBTC looks like they choose to go for these skirmishes, and they are the ones losing them.
Yeah. And, well, CBL down. I mean, it was well played from Levi, to be fair, and CBL couldn't really do anything after that point. Okay, top lane CS gaps. Pretty large. Kiya 40 CS up on Hero, and it's looking pretty good. As 𝘁𝗏𝗏 says, that's my blue buff, give it to me.
Yeah, and Levi's 𝘁𝗏𝗏𝗏, so sharing is caring. Both take one of the big ones there, and yeah. Also, very unfortunate situation for SBTC is the Rift Herald is still on Levi, so there's like still a 300 gold swing on top of what we already have accumulated on the side of GAM. They are 4,000 goals ahead against just what has SBTC really brought to the table. It's just the Infernal Drake, which doesn't really bring you much when you don't have the base stats for it, because you're so starved on gold, basically. Also, both kills are on the 𝘁𝗏𝗏𝗀, who can, of course, do something with it, but he cannot really solo carry a whole fight. And now the Herald charge is on, and I wonder if SBTC tries to fight on the diving turret, which is also a reoccurring disease of the VCS.
Yeah, well, it's not an ego Rift Herald. It's just going to be nice plates going over to GAM. I'm not going to get tired of making that joke. I'll be making it even when we get to playoffs.
I mean, neither is ego, so...
Neither is ego. Well, we'll have to see. He's got better with the Rift Heralds. He hasn't made any bad Rift Herald plays yet in week 2. Let's not forget as well that this game between GAM and SBTC, both teams with 2 wins and 2 defeats, it is effectively, well, it is the battle for 4th place in the split, and the top 4 teams will be going through to playoffs. At least that is what we understand so far. And at the moment, 𝘀𝑠BTC hold that 4th place spot due to match results. They've got 6 game wins to 4 losses. GAM have 5 wins to 5 losses, but that might all be changing around. 𝘀cie𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀 locks 2 members down,
wow.
and the bullet time just runs through everyone. Somehow, 𝘁𝗀𝗋 is the one who ends up getting both kills, but it is still 2 kills that go the way of GAM, as 𝘁𝗀𝗋 is actually doing a fairly decent job into 𝘁𝗀𝗋, despite being a fair bit down in the CS department.
No, it's still 𝘁𝗋𝗋 gaming, right? I mean, the 𝘁𝗋𝗋 still has a huge adaptive defensive shield there, has a little bit of sustain through the Fade here, but I just want to speak about this mid lane river skirmish, so to say, between 𝘁𝗀𝗋 and the huge bull time that was firing off from Divkid. A lot of it got actually blocked by the crescent guard of Penguin, who was the one initially getting caught by this, and it was still a very good play, combining the Cataclysm with the bullet time, and like this, again, 2 more kills for GAM. They also go on to 𝘁𝗀𝗋, who is probably not the ideal gold carrier for them, but doesn't hurt to have the 𝘯𝗶𝗃 at this point of the game, where he is the one with a lot of agency going around. He also, with the 𝘁𝗀𝗃 Stervex build in the current meta, he actually hits like a truck, at least towards the mid game. In the late game, a bit less so, but now GAM keeps their 5,000 gold lead, gets a Drake on their side, so there's not even the Drake Soul stacking condition early for 𝘀𝑠BTC going. This time it's actually not a Cloud Soul, but an Ocean Soul, which might be a bit more useful for them even. But like this, I mean, it's just 𝘀𝑠BTC getting caught all around the map.
And how that Cataclysm locked down Penguin, that was, well, rather fortunate for 𝘁𝗀𝗋, because he was right on the edge.
Oh, well, more.
A realm warp towards the top side. That forces 𝘁𝗀𝗋 to engage onto Penguin, because it also brings him within the teleport range of 𝘁𝗃, who joins into the fray. It becomes a 3v2. Overload misses from Artifact. Not that would have done too much damage, and 𝘁𝗀𝗋 the weak a little bit wide off the rise as well.
I like how 𝘁𝗋𝗋 just chose to run away offensively and just charges into him and just uses the hammer stance to knock someone away, gets the TP assistance from 𝘁𝗃, and then it's just 𝘀𝑠BTC having to run again, because, I mean, they're just so far down. It's like 5,000 gold at 15 minutes, super influential. Second Herald, not as impactful, but probably also something that GAM wants to take, or maybe actually doesn't want to take, because they really do not care about the thing that doesn't even give turret plate money. And I don't know why, but I think they could just contest this and win another fight here, but this is weird for VCS, right? There's something to fight for and they just choose not to.
Yeah. Are we sure this is VCS?
Yeah. No, actually not. I mean, it's just how this looked like 𝘚𝘀 for me. I mean, giving away a second Herald just because you're not very confident in the fight is something that I expect from other regions. I mean, I get the idea of course, second Herald, you don't have to care about it, but I mean, why would you not fight it in the side of GAM? You could just win more in this situation. On the other side,
Gas of the week almost clips 𝘁𝗀𝗋. Divkid's fairly low. Artifact teleporting in to just give a bit of safety to 𝘁𝗀𝗋. As on the top side of the map, 𝘁𝗋𝗋 able to pick up a tower, and they're just going to keep on pushing in the top lane because no one from 𝘀𝑠BTC are answering at the moment. 6.5k gold lead for the side of GAM, and this might be another 500 gold going into 𝘁𝗋𝗋's pocket.
For sure, and the game's completely falling apart for 𝘀𝑠BTC if it hasn't already. There's also the huge map control gain on top side with the turret taking down. Also, 𝘁𝗋𝗋 and 𝘁𝗀𝗋 could have maybe pushed a little bit longer there and maybe even taken the tier 2 turret there, because Jayce is just that strong already. He's on the tier build, but he's still already got his Eclipse going. He's very close to finishing Muamana because his tier is very stacked. He already has a core fields, he has the cooldown boots, so he is very up to the task in the mid game now, and this will be a problem for 𝘀𝑠BTC. If it's not already, 6,000 gold is the lead, and the whole map is behind on the side of 𝘀𝑠BTC. There's not really a silver lining. I think the closest one to a silver lining would be the Camille, that eventually will be a strong split pusher, despite how far behind she got put, because the CS lead of 40 CS hasn't really been extended by 𝘁𝗋𝗋, but overall, this is looking really rough for them.
I mean, in fairness, the Rise is also going to be fairly strong at a later stage of the game. Zenith Blade tags onto B, uses the Unbreakable will to deny the CC and run for the hills. And yeah, it's weird. VCS, we're not seeing too much aggression. Both teams waiting, and I feel that they're waiting for this Ocean Drake, which is in just over a minute's time. Both teams with one Drake currently. And to be honest, I think GAM will be able to pick up priority for that. At the moment, 𝘁𝗃 just split pushing in the top lane, looking to get a bit of gold to his name.
And I'm not sure if that's the correct play to have like 𝘁𝗃 going for the top lane there. I mean, he's not the one with TP up, he's also the Syndra in the long lane. I would have much more preferred to be have 𝘁𝗷𝗋 on the Jace up in the top side there to finish this turret. He also does more damage to the turret itself, and 𝘀𝗏 is much more valuable in the team fight itself, so maybe it would have been better to have him up there, but they chose to let 𝘁𝗷𝗋 go to the bot lane, which is also a smart idea, because Hero on the Camille could maybe in an all-in just kill 𝘁𝗏 straight up, and with 𝘁𝗷𝗋 that is much less likely to happen. On another note, turrets taken by SBTC, that is something they are having going for them. Herald Charge number 2 for them. So mid and tier 1 very, very low, but not quite falling, and this means the map control is not really gone for GAM here. And I wonder if they go for a next fight soon enough, because there's an Ocean Day coming up, and GAM, the most prestigious VCS team, with a win lane win game comp, 6,000 gold ahead in the mid game, just speaks volume.
And just take a look at the vision control that GAM had on the top side of the map. It's pretty cool. It's a lot of vision, a lot of safety for 𝘁𝗏 to push, and he did get that top wave pushing in rather nicely. And now there's a Drake up, so 𝘁𝗏's made his way down, and now you can see the vision starting to shift from that top side of the map down towards this river.
For sure, and SBTC just keeps getting choked out of vision here, so they can basically not even see the Ocean Drake falling. I mean, of course they see with the 𝘁𝗏 that this Drake is indeed being taken, but there's not really much they can do about it. They are so far behind now. It's 7,000 gold actually, not 6k, and maybe even they can go to look forward towards punishing the Camille from Hero even more than it has been punished already. I wonder where the next move for GAM is. They might just take an early Baron at this point, because they just have so much damage in their comp. I wonder though if they can really tank it comfortably, because they would probably be B or Levi doing that, and if Levi tanks the Baron, he would just deal less damage to it. So I wonder what their plan is, or if just manage to get another skirmish going on earlier, because SBTC, despite being so far down, they tend to look for some catches, and so far it has mostly bitten them back in the butt.
Yeah. Well, they should be looking for catches as well, because they do have that 𝘁𝗃 ultimatum from Hero. They do have a Leona as well. They've got a fair bit of burst damage. And now that they've taken this mid lane out of tower, they've got a little bit more control, or more specifically, GAM have a little bit less control over the map.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm still a little bit triggered that they dropped the second Herald for free. I mean, it was basically something that GAM, in my opinion, could and should have fighted for. It's not that huge that, of course, the second Herald, we know, no turret betting money, but if they had this Herald, they could have used a top set where they had this short 2v0 push there, and maybe even broken the tier 3 turret there. Instead, they dropped the tier 1 turret themselves, and give SBTC a little bit of an opening on the map in general, and like this, they don't really keep pressing the issue there, and that is, in my opinion, something they should do, because eventually they could get outscaled here. On another note, I mean, it's still such a no pressing lead, and they should work with it. And yeah, your camera cutout is not quite suited for this green screen background, and yeah,
No, it's
you didn't
not.
pay for this stock image. We see it. It's from Vector stock.
Well, look, I didn't have much time. I had to quickly get a pause image up. So here we are. If you got a better pause screen image, then I'm more than happy to switch. You know.
I have 𝘁𝗃_𝗀, I think. Let me see.
I mean, that's not a pause screen, though, is it?
That's the wrong one. That was 𝘁𝗏.
Yeah, we're also not in a pause anymore, so we should probably go back to talking about the game.
Actually, we should talk about the game. We are casters. It's actually our job, so maybe yes.
Yeah. Okay, so talking about the game, GAM 7 kills, SBTC 2 kills. That's not a lot of kills. But GAM have a lot of gold, and we've got a fight. VCS, let's go. It was just a pause to reset the mentals so that we could get the crazy all-in engages. But it's not a crazy all-in engage. I cast a curse to it. Mid-fight, SBTC back out. GAM, they essentially get the upper hand in the fight. They get the mental edge.
Yeah, they surely get the mental edge. And I wonder if GAM now starts looking towards the Baron. They are so far ahead. They have this vision control slowly ramping up. Pinkwood is in the pit. They got the enemy Pinkwood, and maybe they catch Penguin here, but actually not, because 𝘁𝗏𝗋 with the 𝘁𝗃, quite tanky champion, especially if he can ult, and he had to burn his ultimate there, so considering the attrition, it gets even better for GAM.
Oh, that is nice. Penguin is ignited. He's burning down. CBL, Cataclysmed, and will fall. Flag and Drag will just zone Artemis away as 𝘁𝗏𝗋 lands a 2-man shock blast. And GAM get 2 kills. They can turn towards the Baron. Penguin, well, he lost his ult, then he lost his flash. Now he's lost his life. And that means SBTC have no smite, and GAM will have the Baron.
For sure. No smite, 5 versus 3 with that much of a lead. There's an easy Baron for GAM, and this is probably what really breaks the game even wider open for them. It's probably very game deciding for
Oh,
them to get
B?
this Baron.
Oh,
B. Oh. The
that
Baron's
red buff
damage,
saved him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, it's a
And
good
yeah.
thing B got the kill.
It would have been very VCS if he just died there, but luckily for him, he doesn't. So, I wonder what happens next with the Baron Bush. I mean, they have the Jace, they can put just put the Jace in the side lane and let him 1v1 whoever comes. If multiple people
He did
join the
that out
Jace,
of vision as well.
𝘁𝗏𝗺 is disgusting. And 𝘁𝗏𝗺 is having a good day so far.
Yeah, Syndra's having a very good day. It's going to be 2 wins from 2 games. Syndra's just a good champion. Instead of Galio being the default mid laner, I wish it was Syndra.
Oh, I hope 𝘀𝗶𝗹𝗀 doesn't watch review the games. We are so screwed if he does. Either way. Yeah,
Oh.
we shouldn't care. He's wrong, we are right. He just has to deal with it. Anyway, 8k gold lead, Baron's still up on GAM, and you can just put the Jace in the side lane. Maybe even put 𝘁𝗏𝗺 in the side lane by now, because maybe you could just one-shot the Camille if the Camille happens to go onto him and she doesn't dodge the unleashed power with her extra ultimatum, because Camille, very low on magic resistance, hasn't actually built any of it, just has some HP. And yeah, the 1-3-1 or 5-1 push rather for GAM is very choking for SBTC. Will be soon be a 10k gold lead, and I wonder if there's anything SBTC can do to stop them. Usually you would maybe try to target the Jace, but if you happen to do that, you will just get 1-over in the mid lane here.
10k gold lead. Well, the inhibitor tower is falling, and the inhibitor will be falling as well. 23 minutes into the game, GAM in complete control right now. And SBTC, they're just trying to survive this siege, but it doesn't seem that they are surviving very well, because all of their structures are falling, and this isn't a surviving the siege, more like just how can we die in the longest amount of time, I guess, and prolong the pain. And right now the pain is going to be taking a while, because GAM are going to back off for now, and they're probably going to be picking up an Ocean Drake and then returning with some new items, some full health bars. B just reminding, I can Hex Flash over a wall, be careful of me.
For sure, will be a free Ocean Drake as well for them. There's nothing SBTC can do about it, and yeah, with that, probably a reset afterwards to just shop some gold, because they probably have lots of spend right now. They took so many turrets on the way out. They won some skirmishes. They also got gold from the Baron, of course, from the Drake as well, a little bit into their pockets now, and after that, it will probably just be one more top lane push on the side of GAM. They have super minions streaming in the mid lane, in the bot lane, that need to be defended on the side of SBTC, and there will not be much to be defended left on the side of SBTC. They basically just have to do maybe like a Hail Mary play, just to fight at the top lane tier 3 turret for them, and whether that works out or not remains to be seen. I wonder how GAM will set it up, because they have a lot of poke on the side with this Jace. They can also poke a little bit through Scanners a week from the Syndra, of course, and there's not really much to do on sort of SBTC. They also have a hard time itemizing against it, because it's both very high magic and physical damage, also a lot of lethality on this Jace with the Eclipse build, both percentage and flat penetration in it. Last Whisper also done for him, 𝘀𝗏𝗺 𝘀𝗏 soon to be finished, and I wonder if SBTC can at least have a nice last stand there, or if GAM can just close it out cleanly there.
I think it's probably going to be a bit of a clean end for GAM, but we'll have to wait and see. 𝘀𝗏𝗺's dropped down some little trappies, but I have a feeling that B will just step on it and not really care.
Maybe even Levi does it. I mean, he also gets still chunked by it. And the traps are actually some silver lining for SBTC, because they are very annoying to deal with.
Okay.
But speaking of that,
Hero's not a silver lining. Hero is a dead lining, because he's dead. Good stat of the week coming in from 𝘁𝗏𝗺.
oh wow, 𝘀𝗏𝗺 is so cocky. He just stepped on the Caitlyn trap in turret range and just didn't care. He's the AD carry, he steps on the Caitlyn trap. That's how far ahead GAM is. They are just playing with their food right now.
I think they knew 𝘀𝗏𝗺 was on the other side of the base, as B Hex flashing over the wall, scat of the week, flashed away by Artifact, and this, I have a feeling, might be the final play. Hero back up in 17 seconds time. GAM have now ticked all the boxes, and by ticking all the boxes, I mean they've destroyed all the inhibitors, because they are all gone. Super minion wave crashing through in the bottom lane. Maybe they can push this forward. We've got Baron in 1.5 minutes, and worst case scenario, GAM can just wait to secure that, and then make a return to the base and say, hey, look, we're now all purple, and that means we're stronger. Do we see an engage from B? No.
We do.
Okay, we do. And bullet time comes through. It's a good solar flare, cleansed away by 𝘀𝘀. Artifact will get popped. CBL will as well. There's a Guardian Angel on Artifact, but he'll die as soon as he comes out of it. Hextech Ultimatum, Hero on the run, but the bullet will follow the hook shot out, and it is only 𝘀/𝗁𝗁ty who is left standing. And guess what? Everyone from GAM is still alive. It's a clean ace for the side of GAM. It's a solid performance from them as well. GAM will take game 1 of SBTC Esports.
And in convincing fashion, I dare say. I mean, the last stand from SBTC just now was a little bit pathetic, let's be honest. I mean, they waited too long for it. The third inhibitor was already dropping, and they should have done it at least at the top lane tier 3 there. But yeah, it was a little bit too late, too late for them. And with that draft, win lane win game was definitely possible for GAM. But I wonder what would happen if CBL doesn't get caught so much in the early mid-game stage of the game, because there was a lot more to take of this from SBTC. The draft wasn't terrible. They had some good scaling on their side. They had the Camille, they had the Wise, but ultimately it just wasn't enough. GAM was just better in game 1.
Okay, and with that, we're going to jump on into a short break. When we return, we'll be getting our other analyst, Tim's thoughts on the game and preparing to jump on into game 2. Stay tuned here at VCS English.
I hear the sound that goes beneath angels and skylines meet.
watch you wave or represent them. The world is watching. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. Write your story down into history. Pride and country. You could have everything. So bring home the glory alive. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. So go and bring home the glory alive. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. Write your story down into history. Pride and country. You could have everything. So bring home the glory alive.
Welcome back, folks. We are getting ready to jump on into the second game of our second series today. GAM taking on 𝘀𝘀ci. And Tim, how do you think Super Big Time Chicken are doing so far this series?
About as great as they did against BTS, just they're playing against a good team now.
Oh, okay.
Not great. Let's put it that way. Really not great. I mean, there wasn't a redeeming factor on any position, I think, really, throughout the game.
I think you're going to need to issue an apology to all the BTS fans out there, including myself at some point. But 𝘀𝘀ci will now go to the better analyst, 𝘀𝘀ci, because 𝘀𝘀ci, you like BTS, don't you?
No,
Don't you?
I
No.
actually don't. I mean, do you mean the K-pop group or the team?
Wait, the K-pop group.
Yeah, I mean the great K-pop group is obviously not a good team.
Sorry, just taking a break from the Vietnamese stream just to have a check out BTS K-pop group. Oh my god, they are actually a K-pop group. Oh, it's a boy band as well. Oh, let's go. Okay, anyway, back to VCS English.
You didn't
Wait,
know.
you don't know BTS?
No.
Okay, so analysis is a bit useless here, but so we need to teach you about BTS, my son.
I'm just shocked that he is not aware of their existence. That's all I'm saying.
You
because
don't have to like them.
That's how far it goes for me. I assume for you maybe as well, but
Yeah,
he didn't know that they
I have
exist.
no knowledge of pop culture, to be honest with you. Yeah.
I wouldn't call it culture, but yeah.
It's okay. Is it a
Oh,
Vietnamese
even
boy
though
band
you-
or a Korean boy band? Oh
No,
wait, you said K-pop.
it's
It is
Korean.
obviously Korean. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry. Anyway, GAM 𝘀𝘀ci. GAM stomped 𝘀𝘀ci game 1. What went wrong for 𝘀𝘀ci, Tim?
Everything. I mean, they were basically. I mean, okay, so it started out well, right? They had the 𝘀𝘀 mid lane, the first blood, which was really nicely set up and something that made me thought they might have a good shot at the game. But I think Levi's answer, especially one in bot lane, that basically snowballed bot lane out of control, was really nice. And then they continuously attacked bot lane over and over again, and there was no answer to be had from 𝘀𝘀ci, and then the rest of the map just snowballed from there.
Oh, my camera died. I pressed a button. I thought I could improve my camera, but it failed. Okay, the camera is
You did
back.
improve your camera.
Yes, I did. I hate you. Anyway.
To ask me something.
No, I don't want to ask you. I'm going to go back to Tim. Now, Tim's my new favorite analyst. I'm just chopping and changing between
Damn, I
you.
ruined it.
Yeah, you ruined it. Don't worry, I'll get my revenge. We'll play Game of Chess after this. Let's talk a little bit about the mid lane, because GAM didn't put 𝘀𝘀ci on the Galio, and 𝘁𝗃 did well, and I like this.
So is that for me or okay? So
My new favorite analyst.
okay, yeah. I mean, it is good. Not putting people on Galio is usually very good. We've seen that throughout the VCS is that usually Galio isn't great. And 𝘁𝗃, of course, I think he's one of the players that is actually able to play the champion. I just don't think it's great. And on the Syndra, he can do a very similar job, but has more uses throughout the game. So I really like the Syndra first pick. It worked out well. Yes, he was caught out once by that early gank by positioning. Not wrongly, he was playing top pocket because he thought his own jungler was topside. Didn't expect the gank coming in after the 3 camps. So he was caught out there. It happens, you TP back, you play your lane anyways, and it didn't really hurt the gameplay at all.
And 𝘀𝗃, to go to you for SBTC, are there any positives that they can take heading into game 2? Anything that they can look at from game 1 and try to strengthen a little bit more to be able to take the fight to GAM?
That's a very good question because I'm really struggling to think of much that went right for them in this first game. I mean, they didn't completely collapse as soon as GAM had the lead. I mean, they had like this huge mid-game lead, and there was like still a lull state where like nothing really happened, which was partly, of course, due to Baron not being up and GAM not being able to take it yet. But speaking of that, I mean, the comp in itself was probably fine for SBTC. They just fell too behind too quickly against GAM. Maybe assuming that they know that they are individually a little bit outmatched against them. They need to pick a little bit more early game. And if they manage to do that without really sacrificing much of their scaling, I think they definitely have what it takes to at least contest a game 3 here in the series.
Okay, now I've got very bad news. We've been bad people, 𝘀𝗃, Tim. We were supposed to do our MVP votes for the last game, and we didn't do it. So we're going to do it on stream now. So who were our top 3? 𝘀𝗃, I can see you typing, so I'm going to go with you first.
I just had the 3-1, and then I was trying to think of something. I mean,
okay, like that.
There's 𝘁𝗀 at the MVP, and I would honestly agree with that. I mean, the bot lane hasn't really superbly impressed me so far. I would more say that it was probably 𝘁𝗀. Then I would put 𝘁𝗀 up there as well because he was absolutely smashing the top lane. 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹 is a winning matchup, but you don't have to win it by 30 CS before jungle attention, which is something he did. And I would probably also give some points to the support player because, I mean, he was just being better than CBL by a lot, and or maybe even give 𝘁𝗃 the points. I don't really know.
That's
I'll think about that later.
So while you try to figure that out, Tim, who are your top 3?
I mean, for me, 𝘁𝗀 was definitely a part. I mean, the guy had 100% participation. He did everything for his team. He was the facilitator. He was always there, and that's your job on Jarvan. He did his entire job. Like, you can't perform better on this champion. He was again and again there with the engages, and for me, also a standout player I think was 𝘀𝗃, who came now back in for style and performed really well after he didn't have a great series last week where he was caught out consistently, again and again engaged and died. So he really played a clean game here, and I really like to see it.
Okay, and with that, we are jumping on in 2 picks and bans. The Jarvan still open for the side of GAM. SBTC Esports banning away the Graves and Twisted Fate. GAM taking away the 𝘁𝗀 and the Jhin. We saw 𝘀𝗃 artifacts 𝘁𝗀 back when he had his only other game of the spring.
Yeah, we saw, and it wasn't something that he wants to play again, I think. But on another note, though, GAM just gives him the respect bans the 𝘁𝗀. Maybe they have something planned because 𝘁𝗀 is a very good counter pick to certain matchups. I mean, you usually want to have 𝘁𝗀 into any mage or anything that doesn't win an all-in against you, which is most champs that are of a range capability, and also some melee champions that are also getting countered by it, and which leaves Lucian open. And SBTC grabs it straight away. Lucian Nami also potentially open. I wonder now though if GAM just picks the Nami away and pairs it with something differently, because they maybe have to.
Yeah, so this is quite interesting, isn't it, Tim, that the Lucian has been left open. Do you think this is possibly the best scenario SBTC could have hoped for out of draft?
It can be very, very winning for them, but yeah, the Aphelios comes in, and I would love to see Aphelios Lulu. I think throughout Worlds that was one of the best answers to the Lucian, actually, and I would love to see it here as well. I want to also attract your attention to Artifact is still in. Hero is not. He was replaced by Emperor. and that now means that we have a different top laner coming in, and the draft has stopped.
Yeah, our draft has been replaced by nothingness. It's the Abyss. We're playing on Howling Abyss, folks. That's the signs.
That's something that would help SBTC to get back into the series.
Maybe. I don't know. Do you think it would?
I mean, you cannot get out microed there a lot, so you could maybe just have the better 5v5 fight comp, and maybe you get good rerolls. I mean, maybe that's like an angle for them to take.
Rerolls. Just play for the rerolls, right? I was I think I was saying with Rebel yesterday when he did his ARAM games off screen. Would you two like to see a ranked ARAM ladder?
Yes, absolutely.
Of course.
I think it would be really funny because ARAM, but I actually want to see it all random, right? So like you have to be able to play no reroll. Like yeah, you can have like one reroll, right, per person.
Okay.
You don't have to stack them as usual by playing it, and I would love to see that because I think it forces you to basically know about every champion and have a good understanding of what they do. And I think it would be really interesting because things like meta, while they exist, they would be very different because you cannot actually pick meta champions. You can only like choose the best one. And I think high rolling and low rolling, similar, it would be like a wild mix from TFT, but you play yourself. That's how I feel about it, you know? So, and I would love to see it.
If this did exist, do you think, 𝘀cie, that it should be with every single champion? So you can't create accounts that only have like 3 champions that are really good on ARAM.
I mean, of course, you should have every champion for that. I mean, that's just, of course, if you wouldn't have that, you would just create a disaster because then you would have just like accounts who have like maybe all poke champions or something, or just all champions that are good in all-ins, or just an account with just Katarina, Samira, Master Yi, and any champions along those lines. And yeah, those champions, those accounts would just be buffed above everything else, and it wouldn't be fair for the Super Series R1 ranked ladder we maybe at some point will have.
Maybe. Well, I think we should get back to talking about the game. We've had our little diversion away from the chat. Oh, wait, hang on. I just realized I need to change my background. There we go. Okay, so GAM? Wait, I've got the wrong screen up. It was in GAM Flash. I was like, Flash, I'm playing. GAM SBTC. All we've seen from the draft so far is a 𝘀cie and an 𝘀𝗿𝗄𝗋. So I want to talk about GAM right now. Do you think they should deny the Nami from SBTC, Tim?
I don't think they need to. I think they can give over the Nami because, again, I think Lulu is absolutely fine. I think we've seen at Worlds time and time again. 𝘀cie Nami is great, but usually 𝘀𝗿𝗄𝗋 Lulu could hold their own in lane and then would just massively outscale. And I think they have with the Syndra as well. I'm not sure if they actually locked it in. But should it be a Syndra pick, I think the 𝘀cie already is on a big timer because he's getting double outranged. Whenever he's stepping up, he has to be aware that Syndra can one-shot him. And together with an 𝘀𝗿𝗄𝗋 and a Lulu, it's not going to be an easy game for him where he has to win early game. And again, it puts the entire onus on SBTC, who have to suddenly snowball and cannot just rely on 𝘀cie also having a very strong late game with this ultimate, of course.
Okay. And with regards to the 𝘀𝗿𝗄𝗋, what do we want to be seeing paired with that, 𝘀cie? Do we want to be looking towards the Thresh again, or are we finally going to be seeing the Lulu or Braum?
I would rather see the Lulu there because, as Coach Tim said, you would just scale next to it and basically outscale it. You could also just get a free push all the time against it. And 𝘀cie Nami, while they don't really scale badly at all, I mean, 𝘀𝗿𝗄𝗋 Lulu just scales better, and that could just be the recipe to success for them. And I wonder what's happening in the draft so far because, or what will happen because the draft is, of course, just now paused, or there was some bug or whatever because. Maybe GAM was like, wait, we just gave over 𝘀cie Nami. This is a bug. This cannot happen. But I mean, if they haven't banned Nami and they give over 𝘀cie, they must have a plan. I mean, if they don't, I would be really surprised.
Well, let's see. I've got to disagree. I don't think Lulu's the best champ to go with the 𝘀𝗿𝗄𝗋. It's clearly Alistar because everyone knows the VCS stands for the Vietnamese Cow Series.
Please kill me.
I don't know why I found that so funny. But anyway, another thing we should mention is that Hero is our 𝘀𝗀𝗃 is back in. So for those people who aren't familiar with SBTC, they started the split with 2 top laners playing, 𝘀𝗀𝗃 and Hero. Hero used to be the starting top laner, but he went into the mid lane. 𝘀𝗀𝗃 played top. Now, when Artifacts returned, 𝘀𝗀𝗃cie, Hero's gone back to the top lane, but he's just felt a little bit out of it. Maybe he's got too used to playing in the mid lane. So now SBTC have said, no, we're keeping Artifact in. We're going to bring 𝘀𝗀𝗃 back into that top lane role.
I mean, I wonder which way they're going with this. I mean, 𝘀𝗀𝗃 had a really good Camille game, if I remember correctly, and Artifact should be the best mid laner they have available. He is supposed to be the starting mid laner. He also, a few years ago, played at Worlds, so experience-wise, he also holds up to the task, which the others not do as much as him. And I wonder where they're really going with 𝘀𝗀𝗃, because he has been not clearly better than Hero, but he definitely has his own style.
And actually, 𝘀𝗀𝗃 is one of the most diverse champion pools in the top lane of what we've seen so far in the VCS. He's played 7 champions, 2 games on the Jace, 2 games on the Kennedy. He's won all 4 of those games. So maybe it's going to be back to Jace duty for 𝘀𝗀𝗃. We'll have to wait and see. But we are actually having a rather long pause. I'm not sure if the draft has gone ahead and we just can't see it. Hopefully, we do get to see the draft at some point. But yes,
Hey, we're back.
Yay!
And
Oh,
one
yeah.
thing I want to say, we talked so much about the 𝘀𝗀𝗃cie army. SBTC were in a very similar position in Game 2 of their previous series, and they picked 𝘀𝗀𝗃, and they did not pick the Nami, they did pick the Thresh. So we could just see them going for 𝘀𝗀𝗃 Thresh once again. They won on it on Tuesday, and they might just go for it again, and we don't see the 𝘀𝗀𝗃 army at all.
Okay, we'll have to see. So the 𝘀𝗀𝗃 picked up once again by SBTC. GAM will replay what they did, which was picking the 𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗏, followed by the Syndra. Now for SBTC, 𝘀𝗀𝗃cie is on B2 and their B3 picks.
Yeah, looks like the LeBlanc cover is coming out, so Artifact may be going for the LeBlanc Syndra matchup, a matchup that can go either way. Seems to be a skill matchup from what I know, and I actually want them to try 𝘀𝗀𝗃𝗏𝗏. I mean, last time they didn't, and I'm very high on this pick, to be honest. It has a very strong landing phase. It scales well to the mid game. 𝘀𝗀𝗃 basically has another item more in the mid game with the Imperial Mandate, which is tied to the electrocuted army on their side. And I mean, I wouldn't put it past GAM to punish this lane, to play like something like the 𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗏 Lulu against it. But I mean, you're just not there. You better try.
Okay, well, B3 then for SBTC, and Tim, we've got that LeBlanc locked in, and as 𝘀𝗀𝗃cie was saying, maybe a bit of a skill matchup, but SBTC, they're just going to lock in the Camille for 𝘀𝗀𝗃.
That they do, and that means that now GAM could of course secure the support of choice and even double ban the support. Yes, they have to maybe see some top lane bans, so they could also pick top lane if they want to. You know, it's all down to them, and it is gonna be Ken lock-in. So they decide for top lane, and now both sides can take out supports, because I think, yes, you can ban out junglers, but I think support right now has more impact, because whoever is winning bot lane here is gonna have a huge advantage.
So far, 𝘀𝗏𝗃 has had 2 games on the Kennen, and he's lost both of them so far. So the Kennen for GAM has not worked out up until this point. We'll have to see whether this will be the turning point for them as we enter the second banning phase, and GAM will take the talent away from Penguin.
That's certainly an alpha move to just ignore the Nami and just keep banning junglers, saying we are not afraid of 𝘀𝗀𝗃𝗏𝗏 at all. We just pick what we want. We pick Syndra, we pick 𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, and just keep targeting Penguin, who struggled a lot against Levi so far in the first game. I would say Levi was basically all over the map, while Penguin was that much less so. And speaking of the Kennen pick, you said he didn't win so far on it, but I gotta say, was it really because of the Kennen? GAM in general looked lost in the first 2 game days, and maybe even the third as well. And I would much more attributed to that than the fact that they pick Kennen.
Yeah, I also want to bring up the fact that the Lee Sin is still open for Levi if he wants to go for it, because I kind of want to see GAM going for what they did in game 1 here, Tim, which was take a jungler that can drop in early ganks and try to get try to get 𝘁𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 ahead of the Sin.
Yeah, but they would still have the Qiyana up if they want to decide for it. And if we remember back to Tuesday, it was a massive Qiyana game, and with Ken, you already have a very good teamfight comp. Qiyana would just fit perfectly into that team comp, and together with the Syndra also have a strong mid-jungle duo. So I would love to see him playing that champion again. It was an absolute blast to see him smurfing all over the place. but it's looking like a Viego instead. It is a Viego lock-in, so they're deciding for the Viego, who's also, of course, a strong team fighter. I want to also attract attention a bit to the LeBlanc pick. GAM, previous to this game, they actually banned LeBlanc every single game. So I don't know what happened, but I think they're disrespecting Artifact a bit.
Okay, well, we know how impactful the LeBlanc can be. We talked about the potential 𝘀𝗰𝗋 for Levi, but it's actually going to be the 𝘀𝗰𝗋 being locked in for Penguin here, 𝘀𝗰𝗋.
Yeah, it is, and I wonder what the 𝘀𝗰𝗋 can bring, because I think 𝘀𝗰𝗋s, they are very explosive and very volatile, so they either hard carry the game and absolutely stomp, or just don't really have an impact at the game at all. And now it looks like that draft will be won out by Trundle support, if that hover is not baiting me. I hope it is baiting me, because Trundle support would be terrible. It looks like a standard engage support, Leona or something I could see being played here, and I wonder what GAM's last option now is.
Bro.
I would actually like to see Lulu here.
Yeah,
For
Tim's
Lulu.
gonna have a heart attack.
You have Viego, so you will probably want an enchanter there, but the Alistar's, of course. Now I'm on board with Tim, actually. I mean, now I would also be very triggered by the Alistar login.
Remember, I said, I literally called it. This is the Vietnamese cow series. We only get cows in the VCS. Even if form is better.
For me, there were two picks that were possible there. It was three picks that were possible there. Either it was a Ken support with Renekton top lane, Syndra support with a Galio mid lane, or it was an Alistar lock-in. I was ready for
the VCS style.
I think I'm Frank.
I mean, it is what it is. We've seen Alistar once again. It has worked out last game for them. I mean, they do have. I mean, he does have a lot of targets. He can headbutt pulvers in this game. He can have a lot of impact. It's not that the champion is terrible. It's just that, I mean, it's probably a very good champion. I mean, if teams are not ready to punish him in lane, then he is a very good champion. Like, that is a fact. It just, his main weakness is at any phase, but it's not getting punished. So I think we have to start liking the pick.
Okay.
Maybe we do. I mean, level 1 is not that much of a long time, right? 2 minutes into the game and it's likely already over, and then the Alistar starts to slowly become a champion. Maybe that speaks in their favor. I mean, so far
is this the right background? Is this the right background to have for VCS from now on?
It probably is. I mean, there needs to be like a mash-up graphic of like Alistar, Galio, Syndra, 𝘀𝗰𝗋, something like this.
Yeah.
Renekton, of course.
Maybe we can do like the Bond Zodia, but it's actually the VCS Zodia, and it has like all the most prevalent VCS champions we all love and adore.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of loving and adoring, Tim, which draft do you love and adore?
I think both drafts are fine, but I would still give it to GAM. I think they have a very strong teamfight draft with the ability to get ahead early if they outplay a bit. So I would give it to them, definitely.
Okay, 𝘀𝗋𝗋?
I actually like 𝘀𝗋𝗋 draft a bit more, but I think they're just too heavily outmatched in the individual skill department. GAM has a little bit of a draft that is strong champions, but they don't really work the best together. But I think it is enough to bring it over the finish line for them, and I think that GAM still has what it takes to close this out 2-0.
Okay, well, we will be hearing more from Tim at the end of this game, because GAM are going to be taking a 2-0 stomp. You heard it here first, folks. Okay, into game we go. Wait, yeah, well, you know me. I like to drop jinxes in. Either way, I can say, hey, look, I made the series more entertaining, or I could say, I go to that predictions. It's win-win for me, right?
Definitely is. I mean, we either get to cast more games, or we get this wrapped up nicely, and have actually something we can enjoy here too, which is a good game by GAM. We all love and adore.
Oh, 𝘀𝗋𝗋!
Oh. This is why Syndra is so good.
At CBL, you want? Oh, I see what CBL is doing. That's very nice.
Wait, where's the buff? Is it just walking all the way down?
Yeah,
Did he just avoid them?
Observers, what are you doing? We want to see the journey of. It's like an anime, you know, stolen away from his home, an orphan from a young age. What was the root of this red buff?
I want to see it, and the observers just keep denying us. It's just bullying, man. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's speak about the game. Penguin just now has cleared his first camps, is now on the blue buff. And what did he get level 2 off from? Was it just from the Wolf camp?
Yeah.
Does this work?
Yeah. No matter what camp
you get level 2.
Level 2.
Yeah.
As long as you take your smite item.
Yeah. Let's speak about different leagues where sometimes the jungler just forgets to shop at level 1. Has always happened before, so yeah. I actually
I
expect this from VCS, but I haven't seen it so far.
I honestly think they should remove essentially the smite lock as a thing. So you don't have to take smite. So if you're Nunu, you can take something else and you can still buy your smite item, because if you want to be greedy and say, hey, I'm playing Nunu, I've got a consumer, I've already got a smite, it's fine. Then, don't take smite, take something else. Take an ignite. Penguin finding Levi, or more specifically, Levi finding Penguin on an invade. And Levi is ahead of Penguin due to a very nice 𝘀cie red buff steal that I will definitely be doing in solo queue later on today.
Yeah, definitely. Be wary of 𝘀𝗀𝗃 when you are queuing up in the gold platinum elo range. Maybe don't queue up. Maybe you meet 𝘀𝗀𝗃 and then, yeah, you are in for some trouble. Let's speak a little bit about the keystones. I mean, I just noticed the 𝘀𝗋 coming out for 𝘀𝗋. I mean, some cannons run Spellbox, some run Phase Rush, or some run Electrocute or Conqueror to deal more on the team fights. And more interestingly, Omnistone on the side of 𝘀𝗃.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Even more
I can speak out
interestingly,
about
a
Omnistone.
pause at 3.5 minutes.
We're really getting tortured today, aren't we?
Yeah. The pause break screen is back.
Anyway, to the viewers, enjoy the Omnistone game. It might be your last, because
Okay.
Omnistone, current patch in the preseason, is gone. We have First Strike now, and this might be the last Omnistone game you see.
If you thought Omnistone was useful, wait until you see First Strike. It's even more useless.
Yeah, some love it, some hate it. I haven't really made up my
No one
mind yet.
loves it.
Yeah, I mean, we have a pause now. We can actually talk about First Strike a little bit, or in general the preseason changes. And speaking of First Strike, I think it has some value depending on what you're going with, right? I mean, if you have like Victor in the mid lane against a melee champion, I mean, why not? Just get some bonus gold for you. You don't need a keystone anyway. Why don't you just take First Strike? But I think it is often taken when it's not good, and that's why many people think it isn't good. But I think in general, the keystone has its place. It's just very niche.
I've heard that even if you got like a Vayne top or something, you still get no gold essentially from First Strike, even if you continuously proc it. So, I mean, I've not used it myself, but I've just heard that the money you get from it is not worthwhile.
Interesting. I haven't really made up my math yet anyway on this item or this keystone in this scent either. So let's wait and see until I see more games on it. Either way, Levi may be looking for a dive here, but the wave is way too thin. You cannot really do this to the 𝘀𝗃 here. Also, it's a 𝘀𝗃 with flash this time, not a TP Ignite 𝘀𝗃. Very hard to punish it, but maybe GAM just goes for it anyway.
There's more minions now. Now the minion wave is nice and thick. You can make a nice stew out of it. Maybe add some 𝘀𝗃 to the broth for extra flavor. Levi, it's all about the Spectrum more. It's all about landing the CEC. They land it, and 𝘀𝗋𝗃 gets the kill. Levi tanks up all the tower shots. Penguin using the Predator to try to join into the fray, but a little bit too late.
That was really mechanically well done by GAM there. Levi with the flash, Spectral more stun to get the guaranteed CC onto 𝘀𝗀𝗋. Also tanking the turret up so long because 𝘀𝗋𝗃 was under the turret still.
Oh, 𝘀𝗋𝗃 is going to die.
Auto attack. 𝘀𝗋𝗃 might die because he uses flash offensively.
He backed on a ward, and Penguin pinged it. 𝘀𝗀𝗋 teleported in, had the home guard, and ran nice and fast, and they kill 𝘀𝗋𝗃. So it's a 1-for-1 now.
Yeah, sad to see, because it was really well played by GAM initially, and then he just backs on the ward. I mean, why are you doing this, 𝘀𝗋𝗃? This is not necessary. You don't have a flash. You are very, very vulnerable if there's anyone coming, paying a visit to you. And now Penguin just got back to the game.
In defense of 𝘀𝗋𝗃, he didn't know it was warded.
He didn't know it was warded, but he could have assumed it was warded, or he could have just not backed there. I mean, is it really needed? Yeah, very true. Either way, I want to talk more about the dive, because it was very well done with the minion wave syncing up with the dive. On the first one, I thought it was too thin to dive there. I still think that it is probably true. But the next time, 𝘀𝗋𝗃 just preps a much bigger wave there, and they dive him away with this. Also, one auto attack was enough there to kill off 𝘀𝗀𝗋 there. Levi tanking up the turret as long as he could, so 𝘀𝗋𝗃 can finish off the kill. 𝘀𝗀𝗋 also using his flash, but still dying there. But then, yeah, he kind of ruins it with the late backing there. And what the hell happened bot lane?
So I believe 𝘀𝗃𝗃 got a kill, and Celebrity died.
I'm also this far into the script, but the details is what I'm really curious of. Here we see it again, CBL doing the Leon thing. This is 𝘀ście Gaming, I think. 𝘀ście not strong in lane, but apparently strong enough for this because
Oh,
celebrity. This is why 𝘀ście is strong in the VCS, by the way, because
Celebrity got so baited by CBL there. It's like CBL was saying, "Celebrity, stop backing. We need to crash the wave." And Celebrity was like, "No, I just want to back." It's like, "No, we need to crash the wave." And then Celebrity was like, "Okay, fine, I'll come," and then died. It's like, CBL. It's like, "I'm sorry.
yeah.
You should have
And,
come earlier. It's your fault. Silly ADC."
Attention viewers, this is not a replay.
This is not a replay. This is Levi just farming up the wave instead of 𝘀cie.
Oh my god, how boring. I mean, it's 𝘀cie𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀𝗀 like up, and no flashes offensively on the side of GAM. Maybe this is why they are not going for this, but they
Oh.
keep annoying him. And yeah, 𝘀ście Gaming again.
Boink, boink, stun, and 𝘀𝗶𝗃. Okay, there's going to be a wave crashing in
It's a matter of
very
time.
soon.
Yeah,
There's
it's
no
up.
way out for 𝘀𝗶𝗃. This is just bad. This is almost as. This is. Just...
Oh no. Imagine being 𝘀𝗃 and you just have to
Oh,
watch.
he's got the aftershock. Never mind, he doesn't get a point. Oh,
Definitely
dearie
do.
me.
Would have been beautiful if B just stole the kill there, because it was all his work, let's be honest. I mean, in the bot lane, he just gets the kill by baiting in Celebrity. Now in the top lane, he's also up there. I mean, GAM just getting ahead on both sides of the map now. Now, jokes aside, unironically, this is something that really helps them. They are, again, more than 1,000 gold ahead in a very few minutes. And also the CS lead in the top lane. And I mean, it just speaks volume to how far ahead 𝘀cie is against 𝘀𝗃 mostly. And yeah, only really the middle has been untouched so far, and this is very even between the two.
Yep. So far, even in the mid lane, fairly even in the bottom lane as well, if it wasn't for the fact that 𝘀𝗃 had a kill to his name. Now, SBTC are going to be starting on the Rift Herald. How they are starting the Rift Herald when 𝘀cie has a huge amount of wave priority in the top side? Well, that comes down to the fact that Celebrity and CBL have roamed and said, 𝘀𝗃, you can get lots of tower plays in the bottom lane.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a trade-off here. You just take the Herald, you drop. I think it's almost 3 turret plates you are losing here, because 𝘀𝗃 is just on the
Not worth it.
𝘁𝗃 weapon.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
mean,
for
𝘀𝗃
𝘀𝗃, I would say.
he just got 3 plates, right? And Penguin, oh, the snipe from 𝘀cie. Get in, son.
Yeah, and speaking about if Penguin can match up to Levi, so far the answer has been a very short nope. And Penguin also blows his flash and his ultimate and still dies. This is so triggering. Also, he is the one carrying the Herald Eye, so he also loses a lot of time there. And meanwhile, 𝘀𝗃 in the bot lane, did he get 3 platings? We saw on screen, maybe even a 4th one. It's just 3. Only 3 turret plates he got there. I mean, not much.
Only
And now
3.
the charge is coming in. GAM might be ready to defend this, so they lose a lot of tempo there. It's not even that he loses all
What
the
was
summons and
Penguin
the kill
trying to
and the
do?
death here. He was trying to do the ego Rift Herald play, maybe.
To be
That's the
fair, it was
observation I
Celebrity CBL top, so they might have been trying to drop. They might have been trying to go for a dive. Also, now that that's 3 plates going on to 𝘀𝗃, even if Penguin does drop Rift Herald and it gets a charge off, that's going to be the same amount of impact. So the whole Rift Herald play has now been pointless. 𝘀𝗃 finding a fair amount of damage. Going to blast cone over the wall. Celebrity joining in. Solar Flare will be dropped. Instant cleanse from 𝘀𝗃. Flashing out to his safety. Artifact. Scatter the weak. The ignite drop down. But that is just the clone. Artifact should be able to survive. Just waiting for a distortion to get out. Moonlight Vigil onto Penguin and CBL will chunk them even lower than they were originally. 𝘀𝗃 now in the fight as well. 𝘀𝗃 practically out of this one. He's just going to go into the bottom lane and try to farm this one out.
Did B just ignite the LeBlanc clone? I think he
Yes.
did, but either way, CBL is dead as soon as in the blink of an eye, he just fought there. And I need to speak more about this play that Penguin is up to, because I think this kind of solo lost them the game to some extent. Because, okay, beforehand, they were down quite a bit, 1.5k. They dropped the turret plates bought for 𝘀𝗃 to have a good Herald charge, but now they lost so much time. They still haven't used the Rift Herald charge, by the way. Also, now this Drake fight was impossible due to the fact that they funneled so much gold into 𝘀𝗃, and also the remaining members of GAM, because 𝘀𝗃 also got another kill there. And like this, they just dropped the Drake as well. 3.5k gold is the lead for GAM. They will get the Herald charge on the side of SBTC, but I mean, even afterwards, it will be 3k down. They will be, and there's just nothing they get really in the early game going for them, and this is very sad to see, because Penguin, he had it up to the task, but he just failed completely.
Now, something I do want to bring up is our GAM back. Yes, this is easy strength of week, but they've 2-0'd Flash. It wasn't clean, but it was still a 2-0. And now they are looking like they're going to 2-0 SBTC with a very clean performance.
I would say yes and no. I mean, on one hand, they are definitely on an upward trend, and SBTC doesn't seem like to be the strongest team. This is why I'm really reluctant to say confidently, yes, they are back, because they still haven't beaten one of the strong contender teams, I would say, in Cerberus and 𝘀cie𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀. So this just now is not really the thing that completely convinced me. I gotta say, though, despite SBTC playing very, very poorly, GAM is also punishing them very, very well. They're team fighting well. Their macro is on point. I mean, just now we see how B plays 𝘀𝐿𝑎𝑐𝑡𝑎𝑟, and he also ignites the LeBlanc clone, which is something that's a little bit rough around the edges. But overall, I would say like 80% sure GAM is mostly back, yes.
Okay, well, so how does CBL die here? Oh, okay, Flash Scatter Week. Flash Scatter. See, I was saying Scatter of the Week, then I started saying Scatter of the Week. Now I'm just saying Scatter Week. Scatter Week, people.
It's enough.
Yeah,
and CBL was definitely weak in that situation. I mean, Leona without Aftershock from behind doesn't really do much. She was surviving pretty long because she still had the Mercury threat, which denies some damage of the 𝘁𝗲𝗺 and also some of the CC, but ultimately not enough. GAM too far ahead, and
so
yeah, the game
𝘁𝗏
seems to be breaking open for them.
I was just going to say, 𝘁𝗏 seems to be trying his best to roleplay Yoshino in CS gapping a Camille.
For sure, I mean, it's almost 50 CS. That's half a Flame Horizon in 13 minutes. I mean, of course, he got some ganking assistance from both junglers because Levi ganked for him and then Penguin also ganked for him, funneling 𝘁𝗏 even more. But also, credit where credit is due, he also in the 1v1 played this matchup to its fullest capabilities and managed to get a decent CS lead there. I mean, in the Camille matchup, usually I would expect like a 10 to 20 CS lead at this point of the game. It's just 50 CS. I mean, even despite the jungle help, this is more than we would expect. So definitely 𝘁𝗏 also outperforming 𝘁𝗀 in the individual department.
Okay, Kati, Scatter the Week onto Artifact. Still got a Distortion forward, misses the Ethereal Chains, Unleash Power. An Artifact onto a sliver of HP. Oh, that is a nice slicing Maelstrom. Artifact for 4. Levi picks up the kill. Heartbreaker forward. They get the stun down on to the Camille. Solar Flare on top. Levi might actually fall here as the culling will shred through his health bar. But B now joining in to the fray. CBL will probably be the focus because he's sacrificing his life to allow Celebrity and Penguin to run out to safety.
I'm glad he did, because maybe if he doesn't do that, there will be even more of casualties on the side of SBTC. GAM was really chasing them down there, and also Levi down there is very unfortunate. He was very close to get a reset off there and targeting another dead member there on the side of SBTC. He could have maybe possessed there. He also had the flash up, so the CC chain was really well done by SBTC on this regard, but taking this fight in general, they go very heavily onto Kati, a little bit like tunnel vision, and don't even get him there. Artifact loses LeBlanc passive very early on, and beautiful TP timing, and also great use of some slicing Maelstrom, as you said, to just finish the kill off there. Also, I like it that he can manage to deliver the stun there onto 𝘁𝗀𝗋, so the follow-up can continue. Needed to land the Thundering Shuriken for that, and like this, it's a 2-for-1 or 3-for-1 play for GAM as CBL chooses to die for his team. Otherwise, it would have been an even bigger disaster for SBTC.
If it was Arte, he probably would have run with his team, and then it would have been a 3-man headbutt pulverize, possibly coming through. Otherwise,
Stop, he's already dead.
True.
And again, and again. Either way,
Yeah.
CBL, yeah, he also took the kill, which is maybe a little bit of a kill steal, but I can understand why he does it. I mean, it's Levi on Viego, you don't want to give him the reset at all, you just smash all your buttons, so that Rune King just absolutely dies. Otherwise, he just keeps killing people and just leeching off their HP. He has a Divine Thunder. He has whatever HP percentage he regains from possessing somebody, which is also very fair, by the way. And yeah, just make sure he's dead when he is actually close to dying.
Yeah. Viego lives must be murdered. We
For
don't
sure.
want them. It's just ridiculous sometimes when Viego gets a steal and then he just turns a fight. I think everyone's seen the kind of inspired 1v4. Was it a quadrikill or a pentakill?
It was a pentakill. He literally did a 1v5 pentakill to knock Misfits out of World's contention. And now he flew off to an A, which is also sad to see. But yeah, not bringing too much EO flair into the broadcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was not aware of that. I'm going to have to check up the new roster switches. No roster switches mid-season here in the VCS, at least none that I'm aware of. It is just a dominating performance from GAM so far. 5,000 gold in the lead, 6 kills ahead, 2 Drakes to nothing. 𝘁𝗏 on a ward, but he's looking for a flank angle, trying to find a scatter the weak onto CBL or 𝘀𝗏𝗺. You heard the stutter. You knew I was going for the scatter of the week, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm always making sure to shock my co-casters and make them improve, as I just told them new roster news of the EU and NA scene, and also ability names, which is always a pleasure for me to educate my co-casters on, and I'm really proud of you that you managed to
Thank you.
keep your grip and not say scatter of the week again.
I think out of the 3 Syndra games we've had today, I think I said scatter of the week once.
Yeah, that's okay. You're allowed one slip up, and if it's more, then you're getting replaced.
Yes. Well, in that case, I should say it because Carrix is replacing me for tomorrow anyway, so it'll fit into the narrative quite nicely.
You can say that at the end of the last game.
So fantastic. Well, anyway, I'll wait until the end to use it. Okay, so to be honest, this game has kind of stalled out just a little bit, and I think that's fairly good for 𝘀𝗶𝗆 because it gives them a chance to kind of regather themselves, try to pick up some objectives as they are currently trying to do in the top lane on the outer tower.
Yeah, for sure, and it's really speaking in their favor if they manage to scale freely, which is something they shouldn't really be, because GAM is still 5,000 gold lead, they have the Drakes, they have the players, they have the comp to even do this, because, I mean, Cannon is really spiking the mid game. Do they even see the recall there? They likely do not. They luckily for CBL do not, because he would be very, very dead there. There's really no one to help him out there, and yeah, as soon as the game stalls out, it really speaks in favor of 𝘀𝗶𝗆. The Camille wants to get strong. At some point, she can just 1v1 anyone in the side lane, no matter how far behind she has ultimately been before, because she just is like this as a champion with her 2 damage, precision protocol, with all the sustain she has in the kit, with all the evasion she can do with her hookshot, with her hextech ultimatum, and the lockdown it has offensively, and
Ooh.
ouch, Penguin, you're dead. Syndra doing well.
Yeah, Syndra doing very well, and I want to bring something up, because if we roll back the clocks to yesterday, we also had 𝘀𝗏𝗆, and we also had a team, and it was red side, that was doing very well. Yes, that was 𝘀𝗏𝗆 against Cerberus, and 𝘀𝗏𝗆 were going to pick up a win, and then 𝘀𝗏𝗆 all of a sudden found a culling out of nowhere, pretty much murdered 2 members, and then they won the game. And I want to know, is that possible here as well? Because 𝘀𝗏𝗆 is in a decent position. He's got 2 items completed. Surely he can start to do work on this 𝘀𝗏𝗆 pick.
For sure. I mean, he has this mid-game spike right now where he has both the Gale Force into Essence, where he will never run out of mana. He has 40% crit chance, and the culling now actually scales with a crit chance, right? So you have more bullets, the more crit chance you have, which is really interesting, because like this, you can just fire the culling into a corridor, and if the enemy team happens to funnel themselves through it, you can basically just one combo a whole player, or maybe even 2, depending on how squishy they are. But here's the engage.
Okay, it's a flash 2-man pulverize, and Pop will go the side of 𝘀𝗶𝗆.
𝘁𝗏
over the wall. 𝘁𝗏 is just going to absolutely blow up 𝘀𝗏𝗆, and Levi's not done yet. He's looking for 𝘀𝗏𝗆, he's looking for the Camille. Hookshot will take 𝘀𝗏𝗆 over the wall and presumably out to safety, but GAM get 3 quick kills for nothing. And Baron is up in 15 seconds time. It might be a Baron take on spawn.
Might be Baron take on spawn. I mean, Penguin just now respawned, and taking Baron at 20 is very, very dangerous, as you have a lot of HP on the Baron and likely not a lot of damage yourself, but in the position GAM is now, they can actually do it. I mean, they have Aphelios with the exact correct weapons here. He has the 𝘁𝗏𝗆 and the 𝘁𝗶𝗏 going for him, and Levi would have a lot of damage due to being the Rune King, but they rather look for picks because they know 𝘀𝗶𝗆 might panic here.
Okay, oh wow, 𝘁𝗏𝗆 just got absolutely blown up. Artifact knew it was coming and was able to distort out of the way of the scatter of the week. And as a result, he's still alive. Penguin is not. Now there's no smite, and now GAM say there is no risk to taking the objective. Unleash power, the burn onto 𝘁𝗏𝗆, or the burn from 𝘁𝗏𝗆. Means that Artifact will fall, and 𝘀𝗶𝗆 now give up any attempts on trying to steal this Baron.
And I hate to say it, but I think Penguin just died 3 times in 2 minutes. He was just always like, it started with a face check onto 𝘁𝗏𝗆 scatter of the week from the Syndra there. Then he just died to, I think it wasn't 𝘁𝗏𝗆 slicing Melzer, but it was the mini Malphite ultimate, Alistar headbutt combo into the TP play. And now maybe 𝘁𝗏𝗆 is getting caught. Good enough for 𝘀𝗏𝗆 to get a huge shutdown there, but I really need to criticize Penguin there. He really died 3 times in basically one extended sequence there. Cost them the Baron, cost them the whole mid game that was basically already kind of doomed. And yeah, Penguin, really not his day so far.
It has not been his day, but it was a good pickup from 𝘀𝑠BTC. Yes. Okay, there's Unleash Power, and then the burn. What was the burn even? Was there a Corrupting Potion or something from 𝘁𝗃? Because he doesn't have
must have
Ignite.
been. He doesn't have Ignite, correct? Does he have
Possibly.
Liandry's, maybe? You probably went
Possibly.
Ludens, right?
As the Moonlight Vigil comes through, 𝘀𝗀 on a sliver of HP artifact, just fishing with the Distortion. And 𝘀𝑠BTC have been able to deny GAM making their way onto Soul Point, and there are Corrupting Potions. So I'm going to assume it was a Corrupting Potion. That
It could also be 𝘀𝑚 or 𝘁𝗀ℏ, if he has 𝘁𝗀ℏ. And
okay.
Synders probably one 𝘁𝗀ℏ for the early game strength it has, but it doesn't
I don't
really
think it was
matter.
𝘀𝑚.
It matters that he
Yeah.
died. And
Yes.
yeah, GAM now pushing in almost 10,000 gold is the lead. They have the Baron buff. We saw earlier in this skirmish how the Baron empowered cannon minion was already chunking out 𝘀𝑠BTC, and this just speaks volume of how far behind they are. And GAM, the game is probably a formality for them, let's be honest. They just push in the inhibitor turrets, push out the first inhibitor maybe as well, which is kind of early but still doable for them. And they still have 80 seconds on their Baron left. This might just be another Baron empowered push towards the bot side, where they at least take the tier 2 turret, maybe even the tier 3 turret, and 𝘀𝑠BTC is all about them champions.
So far, so good for GAM. And to be honest, that death that 𝘀𝗀 was able to pick up onto, I believe it was 𝘁𝗀, was probably the only real mistake that
It was
GAM have
𝘁𝗃.
made this game. Oh, 𝘁𝗃, yes.
Yeah.
That was the only real
Syndra-
mistake I think GAM have made.
Yeah, sure. I mean, 𝘁𝗃 shouldn't have been caught there, but I mean, maybe one sliver against the 𝘁𝗃 that can just hectic ultimatum you from a good distance because of a hookshot mechanic is probably forgivable. GAM, however, looking pretty clean so
Oh,
far
look
this
at
game.
Penguin.
Now
He's gonna
Penguin's
come
flank
from
maybe.
behind. Oh my god, he's just blown up by 𝘁𝗃. He can't even press any button. Slicing Maelstrom. Honestly, GAM might as well just have a button that means everyone on 𝘀𝑠BTC explodes, because that is what has happened. The Viego doesn't even need to do Viego things at this point. It's a triple kill for 𝘁𝗃, and that, ladies and gentlemen, will be a game. GAM pick up a clean ace, and GAM now will get their third back-to-back 2-0 clean sweep in the VCS Winter Split. Ladies and gentlemen, your reigning champions are back in form.
The return of the king, some might say. Maybe that's a bit too early to call, but yeah, very clean game from GAM, especially in game 2. Game 1, much less so, but again, the 𝘀𝑠BTC, that is also not really living up to their week 1 performances. We have seen Penguin was our player we highlighted. He had a really rough game, especially in game 2, I would say. And yeah, GAM, they were merciless. I mean, they were just picking strong lanes and just rolling over 𝘀𝑠BTC. And like this, GAM, with their deserved third win in a row.
And let's bring back our analyst, Tim, to the fray, because Tim, that was domination from GAM. That was such a good performance, and it is great to see GAM being back in this form.
Yeah, that was an absolute clinic, and I mean, this is the GAM we expected coming into the season. I think the players are playing to their potential, and on the other hand, 𝘀𝑠BTC, they didn't look better than Tuesday. I think for them, they have to figure something out, because they brought an artifact now. They lost. They kept an him. God bless. I think if they really want to have a chance, they have to commit for him. They swapped out top laners. I think 𝘀𝗀 didn't look great either, but he was really punished as well by 𝘁𝑚. So it's hard to say. I think 𝘀𝑠BTC, they have to get back to the drawing board and figure out what worked for us in week 1. And can we replicate it, or do we have something else that could work? Because right now, it's not working for them at all.
And I think maybe 𝘀𝗀, 𝘀𝑠BTC, and Cerberus both suffering with the same issue. Just that Cerberus are undefeated and 𝘀𝑠BTC are struggling in performances, where they both have 2 top laners, and neither of them are really leaving a positive impact, let's say.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe it's like the illusion of choice, or maybe you think because you have two to choose, you have to switch them around, and you don't really find the whole synergy going for you because you don't have really a 5-man roster you can stick to, and maybe this is a little bit biting them back in the butt. And I'm really not convinced by either of them. And gotta say so, 𝘀𝑠BTC just now played GAM, and GAM look like they are back on track. Maybe there's also some silver lining, because that 𝘀𝑠BTC would not look as bad if they played like a mid-tier team, for example. But gotta say, 𝘀𝑠BTC, they just now got a little bit exposed.
So you talked about the return of the king, but I want to talk about the return of Artifact first. And Tim, I'm going to go to you. What did you make of Artifact's first full series back for SBTC? Yay or nay?
He was okay.
Okay.
It's like a maybe right now.
A may.
It's just a maybe. I think he is less coin flip than Hero, and he can play mid lane champions, which is a plus. And I think if they want to succeed in long term, they need him to play and they need him to perform. But it's not like he flashed with his performance. I think he probably was the least bad member today, but it isn't much.
Okay. 𝘀𝗀𝗋cie, going to you. Do you also think this has been a positive, negative, or performance from Artifact? And do you think there is an argument for SBTC to say, okay, we're going to keep on chopping and changing and maybe subbing in Artifact for various series?
I don't really know. I mean, I think Artifact in the mid lane is probably fine, but maybe they just need to figure out their top lane situation first, and then they can look what they can maybe try in the mid lane there. Because I mean, Hero he ironically played better in the mid lane, and he also looked like the better of the two SBTC top laners. But Artifact kind of has to be the solution for them in the mid lane. And I don't think that Emperor top, Hero mid could be anything that works long term for them at least.
Okay. And then finally, onto the GAM point before we do close out. GAM. Have the Kings returned, Tim?
I think they're on a good path, but for me, they haven't returned. I mean, they have played probably in Flash. They have played. I mean, in standings at least, it was the worst team in the league, and a very much struggling SBTC. I think they have played probably two of the weakest, if not the two weakest teams right now, together. And I think they've looked much better today than they did against Flash on Tuesday. And I think if they can continue in this path, I think they're back. But they have to prove it against a stronger team first before I say, okay, this is the GAM that we expected. This is the one that might just win the season.
And 𝘀𝗀𝗋cie, to go to you then, and I'm going to give you more of a scale. If we say, 0 is the GAM from that lost 2-0 to 𝘀𝗀𝗋cie, that lost 2-1 to Cerberus, and 10 is the GAM that dominated in spring. Where is this GAM sitting?
I would say around 8, maybe a 7 actually, if I'm being a little bit more strict, because I mean this was not a top team they just bet, and also in game 1 it wasn't 100% clean. In the second game, much more so. And gotta say, in the first game, I mean they had this 7k gold lead for quite a while, weren't really snowballing much of it. Maybe I'm a little bit too harsh on them because there was not much more to do for them on the map there. But gotta say, from my gut feeling, I would say this is like an 8 out of 10 GAM, and there's still a bit of room to grow for them, but not that much.
Okay. With that is all that we have time for here at VCS English. Make sure you tune in tomorrow as a 𝘀𝗀𝗋cie get back to winning ways, because they're going to be beating 𝘂𝗁𝗏𝗡𝗆, and then 𝘀𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏 will be showing that their victory over SBTC was not a fluke, as they will be taking down Team Secret. We've got two excellent
Match of the
games.
week.
Just a week? What?
Match of the week
Match
with E and A.
Oh. That's funny, I think. Either way, that's all that we have time for today. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. We'll have some banging series coming your way. Thanks for tuning in, and goodbye. What was that?